We need kheer, milk, Trishakti. The star ingredient is missing. And a couple of empty bowls. So, ready to take notes? When you want to do something like a cleanser for your milk. So here are some rose petals, organic like non-pesticide rose petals from my garden, on which I had put hot water and kind of kept it for a few hours. And the more I keep it, the more the rose essence will go in, and this becomes your homemade rose water. Okay? You don't have to ever buy, rose water, chemical rose water from the store. It even smells wonderfully. Okay? Last Sangha we had made rose sharbat, you were here, right? And the more red roses you have, the more red colored it will be. So, a little bit of milk and a little bit of rose water. Sometimes half and half. If you have more oily skin, more rose water. If you have more dry skin, then more of the milk. Would anybody like to cleanse their face? Any volunteer?
I'll come.
Come.
Guts.
So this is your rose water and milk. Do you usually have an oily skin? Combination. So this is a wonderful combination cleanser. See, we are developing new terminology. So this is what I would recommend, is because one important thing we forgot was cotton. If anybody has any, we can borrow from you, from your purse.
Or
if
tissue.
not, some tissue. Otherwise, what we can do is you can go into the restroom and use the tissue, wipe it off, then splash your face well, and come back and report to us how you're feeling. Okay. Who likes to exfoliate? Are you into exfoliation? Little bit of milk there just to make a paste. Anybody into exfoliation? Anybody feels like they need exfoliation? Welcome. Come on in. Now, many of you have rice powder at home. Many of you can use almond powder at home, right? Let me see your skin. Very good. So once a week, once in 2 weeks. If you do this regularly, because of almond being, nutritive to the skin, and the milk being so nourishing and, complexion enhancing, it will just give a new life to your skin by doing this. Have you ever exfoliated using chemicals and felt more dry as a result? So now use this and then wash your face, okay? So when she comes out, you go in, and then we'll wait to hear your report. Thank you. This is malai. This is cream from our milk when we boiled it. Now, those of you who suffer from dry skin, and you are developing those crow's lines and those wrinkles, or you're getting those red bumps and it feels like inflamed or dry, and you're buying these expensive serums, right? I've seen those anti-aging serums cost like $60 plus. So we can put them out of business by a whole milk malai. Okay. So you massage your skin, your face, your neck, your chest, all of this with this on a night when you are comfortable or a morning when you have time. Give yourself a nice luxurious massage, and then, so if we have somebody with dry skin, and even if they are willing to do one part of their cheek, it would be wonderful, because then we have the moong dal, green gram, moong dal. We just took its powder and we added a little milk. So after this malai massage, you do the milk and green gram kind of cleansing. It's a complete facial in itself. So another face pack is milk, little bit of milk plus a little bit of, take very little milk, put some saffron and put some haldi in it. And you just apply it to your skin. And wash it off after a little while. And you will be glad you did, and you will smell very wonderfully too. And then, sometimes we get these mouth sores. Have you seen that? And continuous mouth sores. It is due to too much heat. So if we gargle with either raw milk or boiled but cooled milk, so it doesn't matter what kind of milk you have, but temperature wise it should be pretty much room temperature. And then if we gargle with just that alone, that is helpful. If you have licorice powder, you can add licorice to it. And that will really, help you. If you have rock candy we call it mishri, or I don't know what you call it.
Kalsakre.
Huh?
We both said kalsakre. That's, I think,
It's a rock in
rock candy.
regular meaning. Yeah.
Sugar candy.
Rock candy.
Rock candy.
Rock candy.
This is very good because it also has a cooling property. Pass it out, huh? So let us pass it out. Abhijit says, please pop one in your mouth. Bonus of being at Vedika Sangha. So you can add this also, or just milk and this, or only milk, or milk plus this plus licorice. And if you gargle 2-3 times a day, local treatment, there will be so much cooling in your locus mucous membrane. Now think, this will also help you in potential of if you have ulcerish condition, right? Because if it can heal mouth sore, it can also heal the gastric sores. So people who have this, especially because of say allopathic medication or anything, they have started feeling some kind of gastritis. They can even drink this and it will cause a lapa or a layering, and it will have a cooling effect on the system. Then when we are having amla pitta or hyperacidity, then at that time, Shatavi, there is a herb called, English name? Asparagus racemus. Asparagus racemus, it is not the asparagus we use for the hormones here. It is of asparagus family, but it is called shatavari. The shatavari, cooked in milk, by the way, if you take for female sterility, it will increase fertility. But when it is added to the milk while cooking, say along with some mishri, again raw candy also, or without it, and this one has several times a day, this will also reduce hyperacidity. And this shatavari has a रणरोपक को क्या बोलेंगे, wound healing tendency. Then you can also add some rose water to this milk. You can also add again licorice to it. So licorice, shatavari, rose water, milk, rock candy. And sometimes when people have so much hyperacidity, they can't eat anything. Then we say only drink small amounts of this every few hours. As Abhijit said, milk softens everything. After a while, there will be several bowel movements because it is mild laxative and all the heat will come out of the bowels. So there will be a shodhana or a purification and a cooling. So sometimes when people come to us and we give these simple recipes, next time they think we are God. But actually the science is God. We are only its very, very, very supercharged and happy agents. We are working with such a science that we get a lot of thank you. But it makes sense, your heat and burning, take something cooling and nourishing, plus it brings everything out. So there will be 2-3 frothy stools and system will calm down. And no amount of medication to suppress it will do the needful. Okay? So it will actually, anything that is anti-acid actually reduces inflammation throughout the body. So if there is inflammation anywhere, be it eyes are inflamed, be it nerves are inflamed, be it fascia is inflamed, be it muscles are inflamed, be it joints are inflamed, this kind of drink can overall help. And then say we have some poor digestion. So you have heard of garlic, right? Garlic is good for digestion. But many people say garlic is too much for me. I cannot handle garlic. So what we say is we take equal amount of water and milk. Okay? Say 1 cup water, 1 cup milk. And we take 2-3 small pearls of garlic, crush it, and we cook it. And our food teacher Sanjay will show you a similar recipe or talk about a similar recipe with other spices. This is garlic milk. And you boil it till the water disappears. So instead of 2 cups, you eyeball it, 1 cup remains. This milk is wonderful for people with chronic indigestion. You know, abdominal bloating, constipation, and then there are wounds that are not healing. There are some kind of ballooning of the gas occurs and pain occurs with it. And yet when we give the garlic, it is too hot. When we give the milk, you can't digest it. But if you mix the two, the garlic will benefit from the sweetness and coolness of the milk, and the milk's heaviness will benefit from the digestive activity of the garlic. And this in itself for 30 days taken every day, 2 times a day, say, for breakfast and just before dinner, 1 or 2 hours, it will have such a healing effect along with some light food like khichdi, etc. So these were some of the remedies that were used in ancient India to teach people that, by the way, have you forgotten that you can do this and you can utilize it. Okay? And then you Indian people may know about dalia, right? Cream of wheat. So wheat plus milk is a wonderful combination for strengthening important tissues of the body, especially muscle group and bones. And Sanjay ji will be showing you a variation of this recipe called sevika. It's a royal recipe. Cream of wheat, ordinary people. Sevika, royal people. So you will be learning sevika today. Again, sevika is so nourishing that you may only need it once or twice a month, depending on how your digestion is doing. More in the daytime. But after you've had it, you can be sure I have given something wonderful to my system, because the benefits of wheat and the benefit of milk will go together. If you are having constipation, then milk in itself, hot milk, will have a laxative action. And if you soak raisins and you mix those raisins, 10 raisins or something with the milk, it will have even more wonderful action. Or in piles and severe constipation, we even add some castor oil to the milk. So these things can be added. When we have fracture and bone fracture, sprain, then do the Indians remember drinking milk with haldi? Right? Why? Because when milk and haldi are mixed together, haridra, turmeric, and there is any kind of musculoskeletal damage, trauma to the system, because it is jivaniya, this milk, your system will immediately rush it to the place of the trauma. If you don't drink that milk and haldi within say 1 hour, you will have permanent problem later. Or as you age, it will become the reason for arthritis or other problem. So when we used to fall down, before we could cry, milk was being put in our mouths. These things we do, I'll just take a little digression. We can put haldi paste, we can pound the grain, the wheat, we can roast it, and we can make a pack on the broken bone also, even outside. So the heat will stay in the wheat and it continues to heal that area while we drink the milk and the haldi. So milk and haldi, if you have children in the house and they are falling from their bike all the time, have 1 glass ready every day. Just give it to them. And that is the way to do it. Especially any head injury or anything, you must give milk and haldi. Okay? Any of our students get into any accident or anything, even if they've had whiplash, we say, make sure you're drinking your milk and haldi 2-3 times a day for 10 days. Like that. It will rush it, And then also milk can be taken after intercourse. क्या बोलते हैं? Sadhya Shukra. There is a quality. You want to talk about that quality?
Generally, the concept of nourishment in Ayurveda is that any food which will nourish the first dhatu, the fluid, then the rakta, the blood, then the muscles. Generally, there is a concept that the nourishment takes place like in the sequence: muscles, bones, then nervous tissue, and at last the shukra, the semen or the ovary. But milk is the only drink which immediately reaches the seventh dhatu.
Immediately.
So that's the reason why after, particularly sexual indulgence, milk is the only drink of choice which can immediately regain the lost strength or shukra dhatu. So that's why it is
Very important. Especially if you remember the wedding ceremony, the wedding night shown in Bollywood movies, the heroine is always walking with a glass of milk to the nuptial chamber. This has become part of our ritual, as it reminds me what Hemaji said, that what is ritual, what is science, they're all mixed up. So the science was being put in the ritual, and it has become if there is no milk, there is no wedding night. It's come down to that. So big glass of milk the bride takes for the groom, saying, if you drink this milk, then we can have long life, happy married life together, otherwise you will develop weakness. So this is very important to know, and it is especially important here in America because there is not a concept of brahmacharya, there is no moderation, there is only continued what is called as loss of very precious tissue, because not precious not from a holy point of view, but biological preeminence is there. As Abhiji said, there are 7 tissues. So there is a lot of rasa, lot of blood, lot of muscle, but very few drops of shukra or reproductive tissue. And it takes almost 30 days for the food to convert into that. But only milk is that. The moment you have it, it converts. That is something. So I think many of you will have a glass of milk tonight. I think so. You'll say, it is so valuable, I better drink up my milk. That will be there. And if you're not feeling sleepy, if you're not easily falling asleep, or you wake up quickly, or you have restless sleep, then it is very important that you drink a nice glass of warm milk. In fact, we have one shloka in this 18th century, Mahaprakash? Okay.
50.
15th century text I have in my hand. And in this text we have a shloka which says, in fact, nobody should fall asleep without drinking a glass of milk. Which comes back to what we were learning earlier, that say if you had dinner earlier and if you were unsure about the amount of salt you had, one can at least drink milk at bedtime. Of course, one should not be having active phlegm or active condition of something that you can't digest. So if you're having indigestion, a glass of milk, unless it's garlic milk, won't really help. Do you agree? Yeah. So, in dry cough, there's wet cough, and we use honey, we use tulsi leaves, we use ginger, those other things. But sometimes we get this dry hacking cough, right? And at that time, honey doesn't help because it dries it up even more. At that time, we actually need a lubrication and a softener. We need a softener. And at that time, drinking hot milk with a little bit of haldi added to it, turmeric, say a little bit of shunthi or dry ginger powder added to it. That would be more useful, and that will clear the phlegm very quickly. But coming back to the point of cold milk, that is the popular thing over here. And as we learnt that if you drink cold milk, it is abhishandi, it will immediately create phlegm. Then we say milk creates allergies. Milk creates phlegm. If we don't have good digestion, or if we don't boil the milk, or if we are having chemical milk, then we develop some intolerance to it. We say milk causes the intolerance. But I have one student right here. Can you come and talk? Mahi. She was lactose intolerance not for 1 year or 2 years, many years. And now she is a milk baby, right? Yeah. Talk about that.
Okay. Well, I thought I was lactose intolerant. I had suffered from a lot of digestive issues, ulcerative colitis. And so whenever I would drink milk, I would have diarrhea and I would just feel really gross. And I realized that after studying at Vedica that it wasn't the milk that was giving me a problem, it was how I was having the milk. So I was having cheese and I was having ice cream and I was having cold milk and cereal. And then I stopped milk altogether. And then after studying here, Sanjay D taught us how to make spiced milk. And
Which they are learning today.
oh, good. It's the best thing ever. So I started drinking that pretty much I started off in really like small doses, and I used a lot of water and like less milk. And then slowly I kind of do half milk, half water. And I feel like it's the most nourishing thing. Like when I drink it, I just feel like it like instantly I feel like warm, and my digestion's amazing now. There's a lot of other things that I've been doing too, but I definitely can digest it.
Yeah.